seen that we can use MovieClip root to refer to the timeline of scene 1 or our main timeline. But in the case of embedded movie clips, if we don't want to go all the way up to the very top hierarchy of scene 1, we may want to refer to a movie clip that's further up in the hierarchy but not all the way at the top. We can use the parent keyword instead of the root keyword to go up a level. So in this case, I have a movie clip represented by the green box there that has a button called play_btn, and it is inside a movie clip called ball_mc. And I can reference that movie clip from the green movie clip timeline by simply referencing movie clip parent. Now if I had several levels up, I want to go 2 levels up, I could say movie clip parent dot movie clip parent dot go to and stop 3. As an alternative, I could have said movie clip root dot ball_mc. That would have worked as well. But that's going to take me all the way back to the main timeline, and then I'm burrowing back down. So a lot of times it's easier just to use movie clip parent. Photo galleries are popular Flash projects, and here I have a photo gallery of images in this movie clip and then some buttons that allow me to choose different images. But I may have more thumbnail images than what will appear in this little film strip. I can use this down arrow to cycle through more images and reference those. And I go back up. This is a movie clip inside of a movie clip in which I use the movie clip parent. Let me demonstrate to you how I built this. I have a single frame stage, and on that stage I have a background graphic and a text box, but this is a movie clip. I'm going to burrow down into this movie clip. It's named images_mc, and it consists of 10 frames that simply show the different images in this movie clip. So 1 image per frame, and in the actions it has a stop action, so it doesn't cycle through them. In my library, I have a movie clip that I've already built called Film Strip. I'm going to bring this over and place it here on the stage. And I'm just going to position it right there. This is a movie clip. I'm going to give it an instance name. I'll call it slides_mc. Now I'm going to burrow down into this movie clip. In the MC film strip, I have buttons. There were images that I created into buttons, and I named them image1_btn, image2_btn, image3_btn, and so forth. So we get down to the 10th one, which is below our stage, image10_btn. And let's look at how I coded those. So here's my code. I have an event listener for each one of those 10 buttons. But notice they're all calling the same function. A little trick that we'll talk about when we get into working with strings. I have this one function that simply is getting the target, whichever button was clicked, and getting its name from that parameter called E that we've used so far in all of our functions, but we haven't really referenced it. So I can get the target that caused this mouse event or that was interacted with the mouse, get the name of that target, and I'm setting that into a string variable. We'll talk about variables next week in our lesson. And then I'm using some string functions to basically extract just the number of whatever button was clicked. So if they clicked image1_btn, I'm getting a 1. If they clicked image 8, I'm going to get an 8. And if they clicked image10_btn, I'm going to get a 10. And I'm going to use that number, btn number, to go to moviecliproot.images_mc, and I'm going to go to and stop on that frame number. And if I wanted, I could add 100 images in here, and as long as I name them consistently in this sequential format, this would work. I wouldn't have to change this function at all. So I'm going to test my program at this point. And as I click on each of the images, it indeed is changing the images in my MovieClip on the main timeline. The problem is I've got images that are below here, and so I need to be able to scroll this film strip to access those other buttons. Actually, we'll go back to scene 1. I'm going to choose that MovieClip, right-click on it, and I'm going to convert it to a symbol. And I realize it's going off the screen here. You can't see that. But I'm going to convert to symbol and make another MovieClip. I'm going to call this MC Scroll. So I'm going to burrow down into MC Scroll, and it now contains this other MovieClip that we created earlier called slides_MC. And I'm just going to name this layer slides. And what I'm going to do is create a keyframe. And I'm going to go to my rulers and drag a ruler guide. Basically, the top of that button is my very first button. And in this keyframe, I'm simply going to take my MovieClip and I'm going to nudge it up to that next frame. I could have also used a classic tween or a motion tween and just set my final position in a keyframe down below and let Flash do the work for me. But I want you to get the idea of what's kind of happening here. So now I'm going to create another keyframe. And we'll move this one up. And create another keyframe. And again, take my MovieClip. And we'll nudge it up. I'm just using the up arrows. Create a keyframe on frame 5. Again. And that gets where I'm seeing the end of the frames, or end of my buttons. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my timeline up here and add another frame. And I'm going to take a rectangle. And I like to just use kind of a bright color, so I'm going to get a rather hot pink or magenta. And I'm going to choose no line or no stroke. What we're going to do is create a mask to show the film strip. So I'm just going to create a box. About there. And we'll label this mask. I'm going to right click on it and make it a mask. And so now, as we position the frame, we're just going to see a certain set of those buttons. I'm going to add another layer. This one we're going to name buttons. Then I'm going to add another layer. Name this actions. And I want to set a stop action here so it doesn't scroll through our frames. And then on the buttons, I'm going to go to my library. And I have a button that I created called BTN up arrow. I'm going to position that. And that trick we looked at earlier in terms of putting our buttons inside movie clips, so they're self-contained, I'm going to use that here. So I'm going to right click and convert to symbol. And again, I realize you can't see that going off the stage. But let's name this, I'm just going to name it MC Up. I'm going to burrow down into the movie clip for MC Up. And it contains this button. I need to give it an instance name, so I'm just going to call it up_BTN. And for this layer, I'm going to name it button. And we'll add an actions layer. and we'll create some code. So my action is going to be up_btn.add event listener. Mouse event dot click, and we'll say go. Now let's go to the previous frame. So we'll call it go prev, and my function colon mouse event void. It's not going to return anything. And I want to go to the MovieClip, the timeline of the MovieClip that this is embedded in. That this MovieClip is embedded in. So that's going to be our parent. It's not the root, but it's one level up. And we'll use prev frame. And just to make life a little bit easier, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come back out to MC Scroll, go to the library and get another instance of that up arrow. And I'm going to flip it vertically. I'm going to name this one down_btn. So I'm going to right click on it, convert it to a symbol. We'll call it MC down. And I'm going to burrow into that MovieClip, name my layer button, add an actions layer, and create an action. Now I'm just going to paste, change up to down. Here we'll go next. When my function will be called go next, and I'm going to use next frame. Still calling MovieClip parent. I'm going to go back to MC Scroll. So now my buttons on the first frame, actually I'm going to go to the second frame here first, and I'm going to insert a keyframe. I'm going to go back to the first frame, and since I can't scroll up, I'm going to get rid of that button there. And then we'll go to the last frame, insert a keyframe. I'm going to get rid of the button on that last frame. Let's test. So I can get to the different images. I can scroll down, access those images, and I can scroll back up. When I get to the top, that button goes away. When I get all the way to the bottom, that down arrow button goes away.